appreciate all the work, all the time, everybody hosting you guys. I'm Chris Hurst. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for DroneSense. I've got my wingman here, Mike Mascherino. A lot of you guys know Mike from Darling. Mike joined up just 3 weeks ago, so he's going to be here helping us get this thing started. So let me just recap. So Monday, you heard from Chris Ihorn. He talked about, a vision, kind of how we approach things, how we've got this whole idea around pilots, administration, and operations. Monday or Tuesday, we actually showed it to you, including cell phones and all kinds of, including asset tracking and mobile streaming. And today is the fun part, right? Today is the fun part where you're going to hear from some of our best clients on how they use this stuff. Not us telling you what you can do with it or how you can go do it, but some of our best clients. And that's these folks up here that are going to join us, right? So right off the bat, in just a second, I'm going to introduce John Buell. We've got Louisville Fire, we've got Travis County EMS, and we've got Texas Department of Public Safety speaking. So they're going to be walking through some of the things they're doing, how they're using it. We're going to try to save a little bit of time in between for some Q&A. So you guys can actually talk to them about it and ask questions. With that, let's just jump in. So I'm going to introduce John Buell. John is 24 years with APD. He's set up the Robotics and Drone program, and he's going to talk to you about a live op they ran back in October. When was that? Last year. Let me turn it over to John Buell.
Thank you. Austin Police Department's been a while getting a program going. So I'm gonna leave some business cards up here. We first wrote a memo to get our program going in 2012. We were just put in this position in 2020 to start our program. And it was really because out of necessity, because of the riots downtown Austin last year. So we've had a lot of growing pains getting here, and we know where a lot of y'all are coming from. We've had some great successes moving forward. We partner with Travis County, DPS, and Williamson County, their drone teams. All these drone teams that are going to be part of this operation were full-time drone teams. I have 2 full-time operators that do this full-time for APD, covering SWAT calls, multiple homicides, crime scene operations, protests, which every weekend happens in Austin. Our Travis County counterparts, also full-time. They just had a SWAT call this morning and used the drone to capture an individual. So we have really successful programs, and it's because of the quality and the caliber of these operators within our programs. So this is a very unique operation. We got requested to assist Violent Crimes Task Force with a plagued problem that's covering multiple counties. This is a car club that they just show up based on media invites, social media invites, and they completely take over locations. And not only take over the locations, they cause damage to the property, they destroy the parking lots, curbs, and we usually have shootings. Almost every single gathering we have shootings where cars are shot up, individuals are shot, and fights break out, and it's just a bad thing, okay? We've got tons of complaints trying to handle the situation. So, Violent Crimes Task Force pulled together about 150, 200 officers from multiple agencies, including DPS, and we decided to basically close every location that they would go to other than one. And this location is at Palmer and 35. This location is unique because it creates a bowl. It's got barriers all the way around, and guess what? You can trap them. So that's what we did. This event they wanted to record. We had a large parking lot, and how do you get everything documented? You had crimes. We're going to have hundreds and hundreds of people, vehicles coming everywhere. So how can we document and capture as much activity, criminal activity as we possibly can? Drones. So we had the location. We did basically some assessments, and you'll see what they do. They actually will blow this place up by donuts and everything else. It's pretty bad. We have assessments that we did. So we took our drone teams out there, and we have you operate under 2 modes of operation. You do covert operations or overt operations. So the key to the success of this operation was covert. We wanted it quiet. We didn't want anybody to know what we were planning so that we could capture as many of the crimes and the violators as we possibly could. So secretivity was very important. Is that even a word? But it was very important, and we did a good job by keeping it secret. So we did our testing prior to the event. We would go out there and launch drones, find the best vantage point from a little bit of standoff that we could have operations. We had enough drone teams with Travis County, APD, and DPS so that we could have Overwatch and some target assessment drones, as we call them. So we coordinated with all of our regional partners. We set up a rehearsal date. Since it's planned, we want to make sure we do it right. RFI signals when we're in the middle of an urban environment. So RFI, radio frequency interference, is a concern. High power tension lines, hazards, all that's a concern. So we prepped the mission prior to doing the mission. We made sure we had good vantage points, good launch land locations for our operators to operate covertly. Covertly means we fly and launch from inside our vehicles. So if the drone comes out, we launch it, we go back in our vehicles, and we fly from there. We don't draw attention to ourselves. So we found those areas. We did prior flights. We confirmed the field of views were all good, and then we did a rehearsal. The best way to find out issues is to have all those teams go to their assigned locations, launch, find out what they needed to make sure that they could capture what we're asking them to capture. It's all about the data. No matter how we fly, how good we fly, if a drone operator can't capture the data they're requested, you're useless. So we did that. The great thing about using DroneSense, I'm going to plug DroneSense here, is the ability for pre-planning. What we did is we isolated the target area, and since we had no idea what was going to happen, we had overflow. So area 1 was our target area. That's where we're going to have undercovers, calling out violations, documenting cars, and they're going to be writing all that stuff down, so when we set the net, everybody exiting that they've identified with violations or crimes will be captured. They'll be questioned, ID'd, and arrested as needed. We had overflows, location 2, area 2, area 3 were overflows. You see the mobile units. We have mobile units that can, based on the incident, can move around within our scene to record what needed to be captured. Then we had Overwatch. Overwatch was our DPS partners. They got the money, right? So DPS was able to use high altitude drones with payloads that allowed them to stand off and zoom in. So we put them on the outskirts. When we did this operation, everybody was in place prior. We had DPS up. Again, we're in covert mode, so all the lights were turned off. We controlled the airspace. We had manned air aviation also on standby for support. And the first part of the operation was pretty much observation. So DPS was up. They had bounding Overwatch, so we made sure we always had a record going and an Overwatch of the entire scene. Now, activity started to happen. They started clustering and gangs started showing up. We had gang colors, gang signs being thrown. So the mobile units started dispatching. We had an air boss. Scott Mount from Williamson County was our air boss. So air boss is a key element to this operation because they coordinate, they're the middle ground between the command information, command element, and the drone operators. If you're a drone operator, if you're getting input from the command element and you don't have an air boss that can decipher what they need based on the resources that are out there, okay? DPS had zoom capabilities. The drones that we had for mobile were smaller drones. Didn't have all the capabilities DPS had. So an air boss is your mediator to make sure the right information is dispatched to the right teams to push out the right asset. So that's how important that position is. First thing started happening, what went wrong? The fights. We launched a mobile team. Now I'm flying, this is me flying, I'm mobile 1, and I'm like 70 feet off the ground. Our testing that we did, we knew that I-35 traffic was so loud that it concealed the sound of the drone. They had no idea that the drone was even up there. Weren't even looking. So we watched the first fight. Again, we could see what the fight was, how it was going on. They had spotters and undercovers on the ground. Those spotters and undercovers were also seeing, but they're at a more lateral position. In our position looking straight down, we got the best advantage point. So using DroneSense, they piped that into the big command that DPS brought out, and they blew up at all the screens. They had, I think, 15 screens in that command post. And again, 15 different screens with 15 set of eyes watching each screen gave the ability for them to pick out all this extra stuff that was going on. Drone operator, I'm looking at the big picture, right? You got all these additional eyes that have this live video feed. They're seeing everything else that we miss, and we'll talk about what we miss as drone operators that was recorded and picked up by other eyes. So the fight kicked off. We watched the fight, just a fight. I mean, it was actually like a UFC match. They would circle around and they say, okay, go, and they would fight, right? So it was controlled. It was a misdemeanor offense, nothing they called in the cavalry for, right? So this happened for about 30 seconds to a minute, and first shots fired. Again, I saw the first shot fired. Me and my visual observer, we actually saw the first shot being fired. We saw the flash, the muzzle flash from the handgun. We saw his position. He wasn't shooting at a guy. He was actually shooting straight up. Nobody else saw that. UCs, the spotters on the rooftops, no one else saw that but the drone. So we called that out. Well, the plan was, first, as soon as the shots fired or someone got injured to the point where a felony was committed, that the net was going to be sprung. The net got sprung. So at that time, this was happening, we had all communicated with all the drone operators, and the air boss gave the order to launch. Every drone launched. So we had 6 total drones moving to their areas, their staging areas, and recording. That was key. Now we have multiple angles. We have all this action going on. People running, multiple shots. I didn't see this. I just hear multiple shots, right? And we captured a second shooter. This second shooter was captured by 4 other drones. So not just this. This was the best footage because it was down low. But those other Overwatch drones that had a full field of view and that were kind of overwatched the whole incident actually saw where the second shooter, what car they got into, and they tracked them. Next shot. And the third shooter. So there's constant bullets. I mean, probably 50, 60 rounds were fired off during this whole incident. And all we hear is just round after round after round after round. So again, the drone footage captured that. We were able to track these individuals to their vehicles and follow them out, make traffic stops, felony stops. We recorded a bunch of felony stops on the takedowns, and this ran until what time? We sprung the trap at 10, and we wrapped at 5 a.m. So all these folks sat in their cars till 5 a.m. until they all got cleared out of that parking lot. So a very big, long operation. As you can see, the air boss was able to make sure when you have a planned event and you can put all your pieces of the puzzle together so you can see them all on one board, that is huge. We are able to use DroneSense now to coordinate. So rather than the drone-to-drone operation comms, which always goes down, always has problems, we don't have to communicate. Our drone teams knew exactly what ingress and egress altitudes to do their approach. So since we rehearsed it, DPS knew where they were stationed at on their Overwatch. The mobile teams knew how we all had a different altitude of ingress and egress. Okay, what's that mean? When we push to our area that we're watching, we are all at 50 feet away. So my mobile one is at 100 feet. When I moved to my target location, I was at 100 feet. I would request the air boss to drop down to basically moving altitude. So I'm going to move around in my space at 75 feet. I would request that from the air boss. I would drop down, move around in my altitude at that designated altitude. The same with all the other mobile teams. So he made sure we had separation. We all knew our altitude for ingress and egress. We never came close to one another this whole time. But because of the planning, it went exactly as planned, thank God, and we had so much coverage. They're still filing charges. Some of these people flipped. They got stolen guns. dump drugs, you name it. Like I said, we were out there till 5 a.m. till 6 a.m. Cleaning up some of the stuff that we recovered from this operation. Any questions?
Your air boss, does he have one screen that he can look at all the battery and all that stuff? Does he kind of coordinate with y'all, like, hey, your battery's getting low, y'all keep one drone in reserve, and then?
So that's the operator. The operator watches the drone. Okay. Now it's a second set of eyes for battery changes. If he sees that little red beacon go off from DroneSense, he's calling out. If we know that he's not in return to home mode, or he's called out. So all of our pilots will call out RTH. We're on return to home. If he doesn't hear that and that red goes off, expect the air boss to be knocking on his door saying, "Hey, you're RTH. You need to go RTH." Second set of eyes, right? As a drone operator, you're always preoccupied. And we try to isolate, have that sterile cockpit environment. Our cars, and if you want to see our vehicles set up, we fly from the front seat, passenger seat of our vehicles. We have it set up for the pilot to be isolated inside there. Our VOs do the battery changes. That pilot never leaves that sterile cockpit. And we have not only the screen, the video screen for the drone, we have deconfliction up there as well. So we can see the deconfliction and have just the map view from all these other drones that are operating.
So are the monitors on the outside of your truck on the backside, or some other truck, or other people?
So for the air boss, for the air boss, he's set up in the command element. So he's separate from, and the way our vehicles are set up, you can see him, but we can put an air boss in the back seat. We have multiple screens in the back seat of our SUVs, and we fly from the front seat. So it depends if it's a mobile op or a stationary op. If it's stationary location, we'll usually put the air boss in a command element location.
So you'll watch it from outside, and then get in your car, close it up, AC's on,
There you
got
go.
glare, you're not worried about it.
You're in Texas, yeah.
You're comfortable, right?
Yes.
Okay.
In Texas, it gets hot as shit. And you fly in Texas weather for more than 30, 45, 50 minutes, and you lose focus on what you're doing as a drone operator. You cannot stand outside. You're in the element. So we fly almost from Travis County, DPS, everybody, we fly from inside our vehicles. It's a conducive environment for an operator, a drone operator, to fly and stay fixed on what he's doing. Yes, sir.
Have you ever run into any connectivity issues while sitting inside the vehicle, and if so,
Yes.
distance?
So it does limit your distance, and the way we run our operations is we fix the front of the vehicle. Since we're flying through the front windshield, we'll fix the front of the vehicle towards our operation area. We have the VO that will step out if he has to keep eyes on it, but most of the time we're flying outside our front windshield and we're keeping our operations up front. If we have to reposition because like we have to do for protest, we have to move them, then yeah, we have to reposition our vehicle or follow and try to recover the drone down the road from, it's like a leapfrog, from either the protest, march, or whatever it is. Questions? We'll leave some business cards up. Like I said, there's a wealth of experience at this group. So we can help out. We have SOPs. If you have starting a brand new drone program, these guys are flying every day. So we've learned from experience on what works and what doesn't work. Chain of custody, evidence collection, you're basically setting your program up to make sure that not anybody can take it down. Not one open request can take it down. In Austin, we are layers and layers of protection to make sure that we can still keep doing our operations. It's extremely hard to fly in Austin, and we've found a way to do it, and we're really very successful at it. Maintenance is a huge part of your program as well. There's a lot to talk about here, but part-time program to full-time. And we can talk more about that offline if you have any questions about it.
Good job.